Welcome to the Reddit readings. Today we are reading from Relationship Advice. My GF, 30F, is mad at me, 27M, for not wanting to put her name on the title of the house. I have been dating my girlfriend for the last 10 months and things have moved very quickly to say the least. We started living together about 1 month into the relationship, first at my condo and now at her mom's house. Our relationship has been great overall and we both love each other a lot, though my parents disapprove because they are worried they are after me for my money. I am a physician, and she works in a fairly low-paying and unstable field. Around 5 months into the relationship, my girlfriend and her mom started looking to buy a house for us because they felt that we were ready to get married. For me, I felt that we were moving too quickly, but I couldn't think of any reason why I didn't want to marry her, because she is so caring and sweet and I am happy with her. Anyhow, so I was initially hesitant to jump to buying a house with my girlfriend so soon, but they were saying that the house prices will go up in the future and that they had found a plot with extremely good land and future value where we could build a home, so I decided to go along with it. We just recently finalized the purchase agreement, though don't officially own the title yet until the house is fully built. So far we only had to make the down payment of 20%, which amounts to about 203,000 since the house is worth 1.1 million. Because of her unstable income and she was in quite a bit of debt, I ended up having to make the entire 20% down payment, which took a $130K loan from my parents and $20K from my own bank account. It was a pretty stressful process to be honest, and my girlfriend didn't help much. She was playing games while I was asking her how I can pay for this down payment and didn't really offer to contribute at all. I put the title of the house in my name because I felt I had contributed all the money to it. She wanted to have her name added to the title. At first I promised her I would add her name and we would split the house 50-50 without thinking, but then I talked it over with my parents and close friends, and they advised me to keep the house under my name since I had put all the money in, and since we weren't yet married. They urged me to discuss this with my girlfriend as soon as possible, which I did tonight. It made me realize I hadn't really considered what would happen if we broke up, and since we had been cohabitating for the past several months, we might be labeled as common law, which means she could claim 50% of the house. When I mentioned it to her, she got extremely upset, saying that I was being very selfish and cold-blooded, and that I was questioning the future of our relationship. This was not the case at all, but I just wanted to plan for the worst-case scenario. I guess a part of me still fears being taken advantage of. She started crying, and then her mom came downstairs and basically scolded me for 2 hours, saying I should not have brought this up and that I shouldn't listen to my friends or my parents because they are not always acting in my best interests and wanting to break us up. I was very taken aback by this, as I felt she was attacking my friends without even knowing them. She made a point of saying I shouldn't learn from my friends. She then said me bringing up the title of the house was done in a very hurtful way, and she said I didn't have enough love in my heart, that I was thinking in such calculating ways. I told her that it's easy for her to say that when they haven't put any money into it and rely solely on me to pay for the house. I mentioned it was inconsiderate of them to start shopping for a house when they didn't have a solid plan for how to pay it off, except relying on me. She and her mom told me that in Chinese culture, the husband is supposed to buy the wife the house. I pointed out that we weren't even married yet, and she said me bringing this up meant I wasn't planning to marry her at all. Then she said we were basically married because we were living together, which didn't make logical sense to me. Then she tried to guilt-trip me by bringing up how I was living in their house rent-free for the last few months, and I told them it was not the same as buying a $1.1 million house. They kept insisting it was the same principle, and that I should give to them what they have given to me without thinking about fairness or equality, since we are a family, even though we aren't married yet. I guess deep down, I do still have reservations that there is a small chance they may be conspiring to use me for my money, based on the fact that they have been struggling financially, and my GF has not had a stable job, and that they seem quite eager for us to get married and have kids and buy this house all within 1 year. I have expressed my concern about moving too fast, and they were always quick to discredit the opinion of my friends and family and claim that I should only listen to myself or them. They just keep asking me, "What are you waiting for?" and won't accept my answer of, "I don't know, I just need more time." Her mom told me I won't ever find someone better and that I need to put a ring on it right away. Of course I cannot discuss my trust issue of the money with them for obvious reasons. I am feeling a bit gaslighted here, but I also feel like I could just be being cold-blooded and selfish for thinking about money and not love. Right now I am torn between feeling like I am being overly paranoid and selfish and insensitive by bringing up who owns the house, or whether I am being manipulated and gaslighted. Would appreciate an unbiased opinion here, thanks. Update. I reminisced about our relationship, the good. She is extremely sweet and caring 99% of the time. When we first met, she bought me an iPhone and would buy me thoughtful gifts all the time, even later when her finances were not doing as well. She is also extremely affectionate, and even now always displays her affection to me, even when I'm not paying attention. Some have said this is love bombing, though it has been consistent throughout our entire relationship. That 1% was her being upset or frustrated, and her tone of voice would be condescending or disrespectful, though we were always able to settle our disagreements very quickly. She was and still is a very reasonable person to talk with, and I feel like we can work together as a team to solve problems. She is very emotionally mature and often knows me better than I know myself. I have learned so much by being with her and feel I have become a more caring person and in some ways more confident and capable. She is very thoughtful and always remembers the little things about me. She remembers all my favorite snacks and buys me them every month, until recently when finances were a struggle. Overall, when I was with her, I felt happy and full of love. We were basically inseparable. I took a trip with her recently and made unforgettable memories. The bad. There were a number of red flags. Our relationship moved very quickly. We moved in after 1 month of seeing each other. We were spending all day every day together with no boundaries. She had planned out opening up a clinic with me, as the doctor at the clinic, with a 10-year rental contract, which I would be locked into and responsible for paying overhead. I learned soon after we started dating that she was making a lot of money by working for this wealthy doctor who had a romantic interest in her. She cut off all personal contact with him after meeting me, though continued to work with him professionally, even after he confessed to her, for 2 months. She told me she worked with him until she could find alternate jobs for her friends who worked under her, but it was still suspicious. That said, she never hid anything from me, and I always felt I could ask her anything about this. My parents have said from months in that they didn't trust my girlfriend or her mom, based on their words and expressions and red flags as above. Not to say they have always been right, but they do always have my best interests at heart. She told me very early on, about 2 to 3 months in, that she knew I was the one and wanted to spend the rest of her life with me. She wanted to get married but said she would wait for me whenever I was ready. While this felt nice, I also felt it was suspicious she was so ready to commit after only a short amount of time. She has always been a very headstrong, confident person who didn't question her decisions. Also, she isn't keen on doing housework and will feel tired just from cooking for a few days or washing some dishes. After reminiscing and then sitting at home alone, my heart felt empty without this person. I couldn't reconcile the person I knew and loved from who she could be on the inside if she really was after my money. I texted her that we should break up and then found a time in person to talk and exchange our belongings. I brought up all of my concerns and told her that I simply cannot trust her anymore. To her credit, she was very respectful and gentle. It was difficult for me to face her, especially as she was extremely tearful and looked like she hadn't eaten or slept in 2 days. Despite this, she kept a loving smile on her face. On the surface, she seemed genuine. This is how the discussion went. I told her that her mom was extremely disrespectful to me, especially saying that I shouldn't listen to my friend's advice and that I was selfish and cold-blooded to bring up the issue of the house title and rushing me towards marriage and kids. She told me that her mom was just very upset that I brought up the issue because in Chinese culture, it is considered very rude to sign any contract or separate out individual rights when it comes to property that is going to be a marriage home. She also said that her mom expected us to be married by the end of the year, and so felt that the house ownership was a non-issue, and was just hurt that I mentioned having a plan in case we break up, when to her, breaking up was not a possibility. Since she had invited me to live in her home, it meant she already saw me as her son-in-law. Since she was hurt, she said hurtful things without thinking. She also said that her mom was rushing us towards marriage and kids because her mom's health was not very good. History of cancer, and felt very unwell, but was afraid to get checked and didn't think she had much longer to live. She didn't want her daughter to be alone in this world if something were to happen to her. She also said her mom had heard bad things about this friend of mine, who gave me the advice to have this conversation, since I told my girlfriend that this friend of mine cheated on his ex-girlfriend, then got together with another girl, so her mother felt that my friends were a bad influence on me. She told me she herself never rushed me with marriage or kids, which is true, and it's true that she told me she didn't even like kids in the past but wanted them because I did. She said we could get married whenever I was ready, even if that meant she had to get a stable job first. I told her that I was very stressed about making the down payment on the house, and I had brought this up with them, and they said they didn't have any money at the moment to help. To be fair, her mother helped me get an extension on part of the down payment, $53K out of $203K, by talking to the builder, but expressed no intention to pay any of the down payment. She said she asked me whether I had the money to make the down payment, and I said that while difficult, I did have the means to do so. And she said she fully intended to honor her mom's promise to pay $300K toward the mortgage, but the money was not ready yet. She also said that if it meant getting back together, she would be willing to take money out to pay for half of the down payment. I told her it was too little too late, and that her previous actions suggested she had no intention to pay at all. I asked her why they started to look around for houses before they had gotten my agreement, and they said at the time they were just browsing the market without an intention to buy. At the time, I was on board with the decision to buy a house, though we didn't discuss any concrete plan for how we would split the mortgage in the future. Also, since her mother had voiced about her culture that it was customary for the husband to buy the wife a house, I was concerned they wanted to put all the burden of paying for the house on me. I expressed that I felt unsupported by her during this time. She said she did ask me if I would be able to pay the mortgage in the future and showed me some calculations of the future mortgage. I told her it would be difficult and I may need her help, and she said she would help as much as she could, but it wouldn't be 50-50. I was okay with that. However, I told her that based on the fact that they didn't help me with the down payment and she doesn't have a stable job right now, I could not count on her to contribute to the house in the future. She promised me she would look for a stable job in the next few months, and that we didn't need to buy the house if I didn't feel ready. Through it all, she was very tearful and seemed genuine, and I was almost swayed. She brought up all the good memories we had, and soon enough I couldn't hold back my tears. Both our places were filled with the memories of things we had done and bought together. She told me she respected my decision and told me she hoped in the future I would trust my heart and not let others, family and friends, make decisions for me. We both wished each other the best in the future and parted ways. It was kind of open-ended because I did not say that there was no possibility of getting back together in the future. She told me she would wait for me if I ever changed my mind. Afterwards, I went home to my parents' house and analyzed everything that had been said, and all came to the conclusion that even though there was a chance I was wrong and I just let go of someone who truly loved me with all their heart, that there were too many red flags for me to ever fully trust her again. Also, this was the second time I had discussed breaking up with her. The first time was due to opening the clinic after 3 months, which she agreed not to do anymore, so I gave her another chance. So I felt there was no returning from this. Also, my parents reassured me that I am still young and have lots of opportunities, so no need to dwell too much on the unknowns. In the end, I feel that I made the right decision, although I am lying if I said I didn't have any lingering doubts. Thanks for reading. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.